The RMS Titanic, in reality, struck an iceberg and tragically sank in the North Atlantic, claiming the lives of over 1,500 passengers and crew. However, in this hypothetical scenario, we will explore what might have happened if the Titanic had only grazed the iceberg and managed to make it to its intended destination of New York. This story will delve into the actions that the crew performed to miss the iceberg and the emotional arrival of the Titanic in New York. The Titanic set sail from Southampton on a crisp, clear day in April 1912, its grandeur unmatched by any ship before it. The vessel carried over 2,000 passengers and crew, each embarking on a journey across the Atlantic with dreams and aspirations. The passengers ranged from the elite of society to immigrants seeking a better life in America. As the ship made its way across the vast ocean, it glided smoothly through the calm waters. The first-class passengers revelled in the luxury of the ship's amenities, dining in exquisite restaurants. The second and third-class passengers enjoyed the novelty of their voyage, chatting excitedly about their futures and taking in the beauty of the ocean sea. The days passed pleasantly as the Titanic steamed towards its destination. The crew worked tirelessly to ensure the comfort and safety of everyone on board. Captain Edward Smith commanded the ship with confidence, his years of experience evident in the smooth execution of each day's journey. The night of April 14th, however, brought with it an unexpected change. The sea was eerily calm, and a cold breeze swept across the deck. As the moonless night descended, the ship's crew remained vigilant, scanning the dark waters for any potential hazards. As the majestic Titanic steamed through the frigid waters of the North Atlantic, the crew remained vigilant, keeping a watchful eye on the dark, silent sea. The lack of moonlight and the calm water created conditions that made spotting potential dangers more challenging. Lookouts scanned the horizon for any sign of ice, knowing full well that the ship's path could take it through dangerous waters. Suddenly, a lookout in the crow's nest spotted a looming iceberg in the distance, its ghostly shape barely distinguishable against the darkness. With urgency, he sounded the warning bell 3 times and telephoned the bridge to alert the officers of the imminent danger. The calm aboard the ship was instantly shattered by the alarm, and the crew sprang into action. The first officer, remaining composed under pressure, quickly assessed the situation and issued orders to the helmsman to steer the ship hard to starboard. He aimed to change the course enough to avoid a direct collision with the iceberg. At the same time, the engine room received instructions to reverse the engines, slowing the ship's forward momentum to give the helmsman more time to maneuver. The crew coordinated efficiently, following the orders with precision and professionalism. The helmsman turned the wheel as far as it would go, skillfully guiding the Titanic away from the path of the iceberg. Meanwhile, the crew in the engine room worked swiftly to reverse the engines. The massive ship slowly turned away from the iceberg. The crew observed the ship's movements closely and monitored the distance between the Titanic and the iceberg. As the ship changed course, the crew held their breaths, hoping their efforts would be enough to avoid a collision. Passengers, blissfully unaware of the danger, continued their evening activities. Unbeknownst to them, the crew's quick thinking and decisive actions had averted what could have been a catastrophic impact. Instead, the Titanic glided past the iceberg with just a slight graze. A close call that left the crew with a sense of relief, and some passengers even startled as they felt the slight vibrations from the incident. After the near miss, the captain was awakened to be informed of the situation, and officers remained on high alert, scanning the waters ahead for any other potential hazards. The crew continued their vigilant watch, knowing that danger could appear at any moment in the darkness, despite the relief of having avoided disaster moments earlier. Crew were sent down below decks to inspect any potential damage. However, thankfully none was found. The incident was logged, and Titanic continued on with her voyage. As the Titanic sailed on, the crew's decisive actions and skillful execution had ensured the safety of the ship and its passengers, allowing the majestic vessel to continue its voyage towards its intended destination of New York. As the Titanic approached New York, a sense of appreciation and excitement filled the air. The passengers, initially unaware of the perilous encounter with the iceberg, revelled in the grandeur and luxury of the ship, eagerly looking forward to their arrival in the bustling metropolis. The crew, however, bore the weight of their harrowing experience, silently reflecting on the events that had transpired. They had narrowly averted a disaster of epic proportions. The emotional arrival of the Titanic in New York stirred a mix of feelings among the passengers and crew. As the ship docked at the harbour, a palpable sense of relief and gratitude permeated the atmosphere. The crew, hailed as heroes for their handling of the near disaster, received accolades and expressions of heartfelt thanks from the relieved passengers. The emotional impact of Titanic's arrival in New York resonated deeply with all who had been aboard the fateful voyage, and all those that know the true fate of the ship. And in conclusion, the hypothetical scenario of the Titanic only grazing the iceberg and ultimately arriving in New York paints a powerful and compelling narrative. The actions of the crew and the emotional arrival in New York and the impact on the passengers and crew create a story that offers a glimpse into what could have been